Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Tuesday, the 9th day of April 2024, Tuesday of the second week of Easter. It is the 10th day of the Easter season. And where am I? I am at St. Peter's. Look at that. There's the Great Dome. So we have just had early morning Mass, as you can see. And so now, before we do some work, we need to, before we do some work, I wanted to get this done so that you can get a sign of St. Peter's. So there's the Confessio, where St. Peter's burial is. Right below this, over here, we had it near his tomb, downstairs in the crypt of the church. The great nave over here, the sunlight coming through the windows, and around behind me over here, if I go just this way over here a little bit without running into people, there's the great chair of St. Peter, supported by the four patriarchs, Peter Chrysogoras, Cyril of Jerusalem, two more. But there's the great chair right there. This is the great baldacchino that's over the altar of the Confessio, and of course they're doing a renovation of it, so it's all clipped and whatever. And so, but it still is beautiful. And there's the dome again. Turning around so they get the nave right there with the sunlight coming in through the windows. So, for this Tuesday of the 10th of the second week of Easter. I don't even know where I am. Tuesday, the second week of Easter, the 10th day of Easter. We hear Acts of the Apostles, Barnabas, the son of encouragement, gives money to the early Christian community, and we hear about the Christian community being of one mind and one heart, sharing everything, and again inspires others to do the same. Against the growth of the Christian community in the Acts of the Apostles, allowing us to see again how the impact of Christ's resurrection begins to touch all lives of all kinds of people, and they begin to share what they have, which is the important thing about being a believer in this world, is being somebody who can share what they are and what they can give with the rest of the world, or with those who are especially in need. In the Gospel today, though, we have a recurrence of a passage that we had during the season of Lent. On the third Sunday of Lent, I believe it was, Nicodemus visits Jesus, or Jesus visits Nicodemus, one of the leading scholars of the Sadducees, of the Sanhedrin, which is going to try to condemn Jesus at his crucifixion. But Nicodemus is someone who basically tries to understand where he's coming from and what Jesus represents and what he means. And so this conversation they have, we heard it talking about being born again, being born from above, and Jesus being raised up and drawing all people to himself. We heard it during the season of Lent, and it directed us towards baptism. Well, now in the season of Easter, we hear it again, especially with those understanding and realizing those who have been baptized. And what does this now mean through the eyes of Easter, this passage about Nicodemus' questions and Jesus' discussion with him? Well, basically, again, if we are being led to baptism throughout the season of Lent, now we discuss and we begin to think about, well, what does it mean to be baptized? And how do we begin to live, not just of people who are a part of this earthly existence, but people now who are also part of what it means to be a part of heaven, again, and not that one is better than the other. Again, both of them have the presence of God in them, but recognizing the fact of our connection, to paradise, our connection to God's love, our connection to those things that bring out what is best about us, what is most wonderful about us, is what we're supposed to focus on this Easter season. So how, as baptized people, do we live our baptized life? Do we live it in ways that express that love and that mercy, that forgiveness, that giving, that being non-judgmental? Again, those behaviors and attitudes. Are we able to live that way as baptized people to show the world that baptism is not just a social or familial thing? It's not just a church law or church rule. It is something that allows us to live differently and hope differently in this life that we live on this earth, to be signs and witnesses of Christ. Again, as it was yesterday with the Annunciation, to be people who allow God's will to be accomplished through our lives. How do we do that as baptized people? And this is where our focus is in this Easter season, about being a little bit more loving, a little bit more giving, a little bit more forgiving, a little bit more caring, a little bit more understanding, more and more, because it is by little and by little, as Dorothy Day says, that we are able to experience wonder and beauty, again, of what it means to be human, a part of God's creation, and what it means to be a part, of the life that this God has given us, to be able to be lived with authenticity, with wonder and beauty, to show other people and to point the way for other people to the great glory of God. Continue blessed Easter, St. Francis and people of God, from St. Peter's. There's the dome again. May the Lord continue to give you his peace.